Let's see here. I just took my Honda Shadow out for a ride since it's been sitting for a while. Not good. It sounded great, felt great, all the way until I got to the last light home. It sounded off, a lot rougher. It felt off. As I came to a stop, I smelled fuel. Looking down, I saw fuel spilling out. My bike cut off. I had trouble getting it started again, but I was able to. It sounded really rough and straggled, but I was able to ride it home safely, park in the garage. I don't want to start, but I know the problem. The part in the picture, let's see here. So he sent me a picture and circled something on his carburetor, right? So I have a visual aid here, as I'm very fond of doing. So on his carburetor, he has a single carburetor. There's usually a hose coming off of this port right here. I don't know if you guys can see this adequately, but there's a hose that comes off and then goes down through this little retainer right there, this little guy. And this is your float bowl vent. If you have gas coming from here, what that means is that your float is not closing properly. As the fuel level's rising, your floats are going up, but there's something preventing the float valve, which has a little needle in a seat, from properly seating and stopping more fuel from coming into the bike, into the carb. So basically what I would do is pull your float bowl off, pull out your float valve, and chances are there's something stuck in there preventing it from closing, or for some reason, the little hinge on the floats, there's a pin that goes through it. Perhaps that is actually not pivoting properly or smoothly. He said he left his bike to sit for a while, which can do a couple things to your bike. It can create rust if there's any water in your fuel, which, by the way, go fill up a clear container with gas from your local gas station. You'll see water in that shit. There's water in the gas tank at the gas station. So if you think you're getting really good gas out of a gas station, think again. Not always super pure gas. Even if you buy the expensive shit, there's still water in it. If you leave a bike to sit for a while, you can create rust in the tank. The second thing that can happen is gas, as it evaporates, leaves what is called varnish. It works a lot like plaque in your veins, like our cholesterol, or just scum buildup in the pipes of your home, in the plumbing. So as it dries, or even as it sits, it's going to leave varnish, which reduces the ID of your jets and all your fuel and fuel passages, at least, and they get smaller and smaller and smaller. So the problem is now you have a compromised passage for fuel. No longer is the passage the proper size to allow the proper amount of fuel into the car to be pulled into the motor and put into the combustion chamber. So, excuse me. What I would guess, though, in this situation is that some debris or varnish got dislodged and stuck in the float valve, and that's what's causing your float bowl to overflow. So this is the overflow. If it's getting here, that means you very well could be getting fuel going from here into your motor. That's even worse. That means you're washing your cylinder. That means you're putting raw gas into the cylinder. You're not getting good combustion, which the rough running is what's happening there. If your bike's running really rough, chances are you've got raw fuel getting put into the combustion chamber that can't be ignited because it's not in emulsified mist form, basically. The reason this is really bad is because your cylinder walls have a layer of oil on them, and it lubricates the piston rings and the piston going up and down inside that cylinder. It's a layer of oil that's microscopic. You can't really see it. You can feel it, but you can't really see it. Without that, you have raw piston rings rubbing on cylinder walls. And then you start getting scoring, you start getting worn out piston rings, and you start getting really bad blow-by. That is the compression from your combustion chamber is getting into the crankcase. It's just all bad. You get gas in your oil, and on the Honda Shadow's unit construction, bottom end oil is shared with the top end. So all the oil in your crankcase and your clutch is shared with your valve train at the top of the motor. So that's why you put gas in the oil and you have big problems.